Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. This one's a rather special video, as this video is my 50 subscribers special. Woo! You know, there's nothing on screen yet because the thing I'm going to be taking a look at in today's video is a bit of an oddity. It's strange, and it'll probably allow me to finally give my insight on bootleg or KO Masterpiece Transformers. And this one is a bit of a unique one, and I guess I'll show it off now. It is the MP-12J Gold Lambor. Now, I don't know about anybody else who's trying to get their hands on this guy, but it was a difficult road for me. It was at a point where I was like, this is just a kind of holy grail figure, as eBay's almost never got more than one at a time, if that. I was never able to find any online vendors, but one day when visiting some family in California, we went to a pretty nice comic shop, and there it was, just sitting there for a fairly good price too, as all the gold Lambors that I've been seeing on the internet are very pricey. I found this little fella for a good 35 bucks, and I honestly have to say, it was worth every penny. Now, since I don't have a regular Lambor box to showcase, this will just be what I'm going off of. I'm pretty sure there are slight differences to it to make it inaccurate to the actual masterpiece, but it's pretty much at its base the regular old, I want to say, Sideswipe box for the Japanese Sideswipe, but decked out in black and chrome gold, which I say looks beautiful. And here you can see me talking in the silhouette of Sideswipe. But yeah, so pretty much it's the actual vehicle and artwork of the character says it's a Lamborghini, specifically a Countach. Here, in fact, it says Lamborghini Countach LP500S Autobot MP-12J Cybertron Warrior, which, if you're not in the know, Cybertron is just Autobot or Maximal in Japanese, because Maximals and Autobots were called the same thing, just like how Decepticons and Predacons were called the same things in Japan. His name is Lambor, which is what I'll be designating him as I personally see Sideswipe as black and red, regardless if it's G1 or 2. Some Japanese I can't read, some more Japanese, which I'm assuming says Transformers because it says that down there too. Up here it says Transformers Masterpiece. On this side we've got that artwork of Lambor again, along with the thing saying Lambor, along with Transformers Masterpiece. Not much at the bottom, but some real nice chrome gold. Beautiful. And then on this side we've got a picture of the vehicle mode of the actual toy inside. And then the back, which is just the silhouette Autobot logo, stuff I've already read, a lot of Japanese, and everything that comes in the box, which it's slightly misleading, as this actually comes with a little bit more. But anyways, I'm going to pause the video, get this guy out of the packaging with everything he comes with, and I will see you all in a hot minute. Alrighty, here is Gold Lambor out of his box with everything he comes with. Now, I'll start off with his character card, because that's probably the least interesting accessory or thing it comes with, but it's still pretty interesting, as it is quite literally just a very slightly modified version of Sideswipe's card, as it's just Sideswipe's artwork and product image on here. I'm pretty sure everything else says what Sideswipe is, but it still does say MP-12J, which is the unique designation of this guy, as I'm pretty sure no other MP-12 is called MP-12J, so that's kind of neat. Next we've got some chrome gold, I don't know what these are called, I guess something that you stick into the ground to try and split it or whatever. Then we've got some pile drivers, which were not advertised on his box, at least I don't think it was that. I just know off the top of my head, one of these two alternate hand pieces is not advertised on the box. Then we've got his regular gun. Then we've got his shoulder cannon. And you can do a little bit with the gun and shoulder cannon and vehicle mode, but we'll get to that in a little bit. So starting off, now taking a look at the toy in vehicle mode, I must say it looks pretty good as a bootleg masterpiece of the Sideswipe mold. And I'll start off by saying it rolls okay. It would probably roll a bit better if I wasn't on... Oh wait, no, just one of those wheels wasn't right. This thing rolls great. And it's a bootleg. As you can see, the wheels are rolling. It's amazing. And, yeah. He's pretty good, you know. Minimal robot kibble. I'm pretty, like, it almost looks like there are faux seats in there. Head looks like it could be some weird ass cup holder. And then very minimal kibble at the bottom, which is impressive. And I will say I'll be holding this up to a bit of a higher standard to regular Transformers that I review. I know it was a bit harsh on the Kingdom Dinobot, but after that review I realized I was a bit too harsh on that, because that's just a normal release. But this is a masterpiece. This is supposed to be Hasbro and Takara's top of the line stuff, and even though this is a bootleg, which will make me go a little bit lighter on it, I still base it off the merits of what the original release was supposed to be. Anyway, back to this. Paint on it, for being a KO, is pretty good. You know, the only thing it fumbles at is the Lamborghini logo, which really doesn't look like much. And that's probably so they could get away with this. It also almost doesn't say Lamborghini Countach. Well, I guess it does, but it's so piss poor on there that you can't really tell, so I guess that'd be more of a way of avoiding copyright shit with Lamborghini. But anyway, before we get him transformed into robot mode, I will show off the quick little gimmick he has with his shoulder cannon and his gun. So pretty much you just stick the gun on the side of this, and there's a little push thing on the top, and you can just stick it in there, and now he is an armed car. Pretty heavily armed for a Countach, I'd say. Yeah. I'll take these off and get started with the transformation. I guess I'll start with this. I'm pretty much going to be all over the place for this and trying to catch it all on camera. And then I will hopefully eventually get to an end point that looks like a robot. Let's see here. Alright, you're wanting to go. Come on. Alright, there we go. Now we've got stuff moving. I don't know why, but for some reason right now I'm thinking of like Las Vegas. I don't know why. Maybe it's because of his gold aesthetic. I feel like if this were a character, he'd be a gambling man. Really accentuate the gold on him, because this can't really be a Electrum covered Sideswipe, as he doesn't have completely gold. He's only got majority gold and unique colors other than gold on him. Like in the car mode, you could see that he had some blacks in it. He still had his Autobot logo, and the Electrum version of MP-10, which I do want to get my hands on, had his Autobot logo in gold, so I guess that's a neat little piece of trivia. And I'm sorry that I'm not saying exactly what to do for this. I'm just kind of fumbling my way, because I really don't like trying to record Masterpiece transformations, as the previous Masterpiece knockoff I looked at was a pretty big one, and I feel like that video took too long. And I know this one is already going to be long. Like, it's already pretty much been 10 minutes here, which I do apologize for. I was not expecting this video to end up being that long already. Come on, there we go. And since this is a KO and it is only, I'm assuming, produced by one company because there's a rather limited amount of these guys, I will also note what I say are this version of the KO's flaws. But it's still not that much because this is a pretty solid mold. Like, I know a lot of people get the KO of it. But anyways, he is in robot mode. Let me raise the camera up a bit. And here is Gold Lambor in robot mode. Ooh, something's peeling up. Just a little bit of flash. But yeah, starting off, I will say one minor problem rears its head in robot mode. And this, I have heard, has been a problem with other Sideswipe mold KOs, which is the head won't close all the way. Like, no matter how much you push it, there will always be a gap there, like, noticeable. Like, that got real noticeable. But, like, it'll be there, but it's not that big of a deal unless you're trying to scalp them. But yeah, it's not that big a deal, you know, it's not a deal breaker. Another thing I feel is a little bit loose is the connections for his arms. I feel they will come undone, like, they'll click into place, but when I'm moving the arms, it will get undone. And his legs are a little loose. And the last big problem I'd say is getting this little notch into this little hole right at the tip of my thumb. Let me try that again. There at the tip of my thumb can be a bit difficult, as I have heard that some KO Sideswipe molds have had too much plastic in one area or the other to where that wouldn't peg in. But yeah, that's all the flaws I can think of off the top of my head based on the KO issues. Other than that, I think this would be pretty decent, but yeah, I guess we'll start with articulation, then get into all his toys. So his head is on a swivel, which can go 360. He can look up that far and down that far, so not a lot. I kind of would have expected more from a masterpiece. His arms can move out that far and can do a full 360 rotation. He's got a 90-degree bend at the elbow, but because of the transformation, you also got 90 degrees back, so you can kind of just have him fold his arms up in a weird way. I mean, it's okay. I kind of would have liked more than 90, but almost all masterpieces kind of have 90 at the elbow, unless it's something special. Just a swivel at the wrist. You can't really get any other movement aside from very dirty motion. He has a waist swivel, which actually surprises me, as I know some masterpiece figures Starscream don't have any waist articulation. His legs can do a perfect Van Damme. In fact, this one looks to be a little bit higher in person. His legs can only go out that far without moving the crotch piece, but with moving the crotch piece, it can pretty much get a full 90 forward. And that far back because he's got restricted butt. He's got a thigh swivel, which is nice. This one feels a tad loose, but not enough to ruin the figure. 90 at the knee. And then a very slight ankle tilt, which I guess you could consider this toe articulation, but I don't. But it's more for the transformation. And I only like toe articulation if it's going upwards, as that is much more useful. So I guess starting off with the hands, I guess I'll show off one each because it's pretty much the same thing. So I'll start off with one of these, which these are chrome plated, which is kind of nice. You kind of just stick them in there. Okay, that one's not working. Let's try the other one. So I was saying, stick it in there. And then the same can be said for these more square ones. Just kind of lodge it in there until you feel it stick. So there's those. You could just imagine 2 of this flat one or 2 of this chrome one. I personally never display them with these just because I just feel like they're little novelties. In fact, I think for the real Sideswipe, those parts were online retailer exclusives. Pieces are just exclusive pieces somewhere, which makes sense. They're not absolutely necessary for me. Then we've got his shoulder cannon, which can be put on either shoulder, but since all the artwork on this guy shows it on this shoulder, you can put it here, and I guess I'll just show it off as an example. You can also place it here. There are these holes here, which I'm pretty sure you could have guessed. Which, it's a little loose, but I'm almost certain nobody's going to have him posed upside down, and it does fit perfectly fine. Then, another problem, which I'm assuming is just for the KO, is his gun. Why do I say that? Well, that's because I personally feel the connection for his gun is a little loose, as... Well, this fell off too, but it's more of a problem for his gun because you're going to be handling this guy and just moving his arm, and the gun will just get loose and fall out. More like just get loose and go off to an angle, like so. But it's not too bad. And overall, for a uniquely colored bootleg of the Masterpiece Sideswipe mold, I'd say this guy's pretty cool, and for what I paid for him, I'd say he's absolutely worth it. I could stick him in with my other Masterpiece figures, whether they be official or fake, and not have a problem with them. You know, he's a unique colored Sideswipe mold, you know, because of all the recolored Carbots. It's almost like some kind of Seeker, but for the Autobots on the ground. Excuse me. Now, I just might as well get into my thoughts on KO Transformers as a whole, Masterpiece-wise, because most of the time, I'd say support the official release, and if you have the money and the will, I'd say full-on go ahead, but at this point, Takara's prices for Masterpieces are just so outrageous that if you absolutely want to have the Masterpiece version of the figure, most of the KOs are of decent enough quality to where collectors like myself are like, yeah, this is good. And like my Sound Blaster, or Shadow Wave as the toy is actually called, he's a bootleg of the MP-13 Soundwave, and I've also got a KO MP-36, which is just fine, and I'm perfectly happy with them, as I don't have real problems with them. And part of the reason why I don't have the official ones is because they're just too gosh dang expensive. But yeah, pretty much my thoughts on KOs is, if it's good enough quality, it's A-okay. If it's not, just go ahead and pass on it. And Takara, I know you won't hear me, but please just lower your prices. And looking at this, I almost feel like, oh my god, it does. I've had this guy mistransform this whole time. I am so sorry. Oh my god, I feel like a moron now. Well, if you made it this far into the video, I thank you for watching. Thank you if you are a subscriber. You know who you are. You made YouTube feel very special for me. I know it's only 50, but I don't need that many people. As long as somebody's watching, I'm happy. And anyways, everybody, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you all next time.